Hello and welcome to this presentation covering the progression options for 2025. My name's Beck, I'm the Careers Coordinator and I'm joined by Sophie, who is our Progress Leader for Southport College. So we're going to talk you through today some of the university options, some of the apprenticeship options and the things that you need to be doing over the summer to support your young person in making their next steps.
So I'm going to start us off just by letting everyone know what we're going to be covering for this session. So we're going to do a bit of an overview of the UCAS process and updates for the 2025 entry and giving some information on student finance. We're going to be looking at a bit of an overview of higher and degree level apprenticeships, as well as the support available to our students when looking at their progression options. And then we'll have a little look at some hints and tips for students and parents and giving some guidance on where to access any further support if you've got any questions when planning for after college. So first of all, what is UCAS? So it's the University and Colleges Admissions Services, where they process the applications for full-time courses at higher education institutions across the UK. They also provide online support, information and guidance to students. They also have another platform called UCAS Hub, where they give information through this one as well. So with the UCAS process for 2025 entry, students will create an online UCAS application which will cover all of their course choices. The student will complete the majority of the application themselves, which will include things like personal details, the choices of universities they're going to, education and employment history, and their personal statement, which they'll write themselves. The final section of the application is done by their progress tutor, which will be the reference and their predicted grades, which we'll cover a bit later. But all the applications go through quite a thorough checking process. They're not sent straight to the university. They are checked by several people before they are sent off. And then in regard to the student choices, it's always important to check the entry requirements before applying, which Beck will cover in a minute. But it is also important that the student only applies to courses that they really want to attend. They can apply for a maximum of 5 choices and a minimum of 3. Choices are ordered alphabetically on the UCAS application, so this is the easiest way to find them. The application fee itself is £28.50, but the fee is waived for students who are in receipt of free school meals. If a student is entitled to the college bursary, they can speak to their progress tutor about support with paying the fee, or if they've just got any questions or they're unsure about it, then please advise them to speak to their progress tutor about this.
So as we've said, it's really important to check on the entry requirements before going too far down the process of application. Different subjects will have different entry requirements, as will different universities, and so doing your research, finding out, often there'll be choices where you can have a slightly lower UCAS tariff for a different university, or you can add a foundation year to lower it. So there's a bit of research to be done there to find the right match for you. And you should also bear in mind that subjects might have specific GCSE requirements as well. So these would often be around English, maths and science. Some courses will require students to sit admissions tests, and it's the responsibility of the student to go and book those, but that will be clearly signposted from the university's website. Some courses require students to attend for an interview or submit a portfolio, and subject teachers will support with that as and when it's needed. And then finally, students will be made offers based on their predicted grades. So it is really important that they speak to their subject teacher and get an idea of the grade that they are predicted, because we will attach that to their reference and the university will go from that in making their judgments about who to offer a place to. So the UCAS tariff system, you can see here alongside each other the point scores for BTEC and T-level grades. So you need to know what course you're on to start with, and then once the tutor gives a predicted grade, it will be one of these. So whether that is for a T-level, which is distinction star, distinction, merit and pass, or whether we're looking at a BTEC extended where you'll be given 3 letters to cover that distinction star, distinction, merit and pass again. Most courses sit between 96 and 120 points, with the sort of higher courses sitting more around 144 points. So just to give you a bit of a steer on what to expect when you're looking around. Students will need on their application to put in details of their former schools and previous qualifications. That will include their GCSEs, so they're going to need to dig out their certificates from GCSE and any other former qualifications and start to put those in. And they also need to include all qualifications that they've done whilst they're studying here with us at college, including any lower level qualifications before they've reached their level 3. And then finally, they have to put in their level 3. They'll have to include the different modules that they've studied, so they are going to have to get some information together to do this. And then they will put their final qualification with us that's not yet completed as pending in the grade section. So there is a bit of detail there to be found. Again, they can come and ask us for that information at college if they don't know the full title of their qualification or what exam board or what modules they've been studying. So next up, we're coming to personal statements. And personal statement is the student's chance to tell the university a bit about themselves, and there is lots and lots out there to support them to make this personal statement. It is one piece of writing that's going to cover all 5 choices. So it needs to be, and they need to make their choices on the basis of something that they're going to be able to write about. It won't work to try to write a personal statement that covers engineering and psychology. They need something fairly narrow and fairly specific to speak to a university about. They're going to write 4,000 characters, which is about one side of A4, and it needs to be really well planned. It's quite a short and punchy piece of work, and they need to get across quite a lot of information about themselves, about their interest in the subject, about the study that they have been doing to support their progression. And so you can see here those main areas that need to be covered, and also like I say, there are lots and lots of tools on the internet. So the UCAS website has a brilliant personal statement builder tool in their hub, in their application section. But also they can find some support for that on Unifrog, including example personal statements for lots of subjects to give them a bit of an idea of the kind of things that they need to be writing about. So in a moment we'll discuss the deadlines and the process over the coming months, but just to let you know, so when we come to sending the applications, they will have gone through a process before that. They'll have spoken to their progress tutor, they'll have had their personal statement checked, they'll have had support along the way to make sure that everything's lined up with their application. And once it's fully completed and they've done everything with it, they're going to click pay and send. And that means that the application is sent, but it's sent initially to the college, and it's received here, it's checked over, and anything that needs to be edited, anything that we pick up that needs to be changed, we will return the form to the student. And when we do that, we always let them know that we're returning their form to them, because it can't be submitted to UCAS once it's been returned to them until they resubmit it to college. So that process all goes along, and this is why we ask, and you'll see in a moment in the deadlines, to have the forms in before the final UCAS deadline, because it gives us time to go through this process of checking and, if necessary, returning and changing forms before they are then finally sent by the college to UCAS. Progress tutors will go through once they've been submitted as well. and add references and predicted grades and go through that checking process, as will the curriculum managers, to make sure that everything is running smoothly and that UCAS applications get there ready to be processed by the university. Students must meet that internal submission deadline that we're going to talk about next for us to be able to go through that thorough checking process.
So just some of the deadlines for you to be aware of within the college. So the personal statement, we would like a first draft done by Monday the 7th of October. Then normally these will be checked over either by the progress tutor or another member of staff and sent back, and we'll need a second draft of the personal statement, and the deadline for this will be Monday the 4th of November. Our internal application deadline is Monday the 18th of November. As Beck said, it's just because of all the checks that this will need to go through to make sure that the application is completed and sent off in time. And then the external UCAS final deadline is Wednesday the 29th of January. So for the reference that we will write, this is done with the progress tutor alongside the curriculum staff that are teaching on the course. This will include a bit of a general statement about the school, about the college, and if applicable, we'll put any information about any extenuating circumstances which may have impacted the student's education and achievement alongside the course. This will also include some supportive information specific to the student, which could be anything to do with the course specifically or anything that we feel that the university or college should be aware of when applying. So then we're just going to move into some information on student finance and the application for this. The student finance is a government finance loan that will cover the university tuition fees and living costs for the duration of the student's study. So the student loan is divided into two parts. There's the tuition fee loan, which is the same for everyone, and it's paid directly to the university from student finance. And then there's the maintenance loan. Now this is paid to the student and is means tested and depends on quite a lot of things. It depends on where they're choosing to live while they're studying their course. The student will get less if they are living at home. Where they are studying, as when students are studying in London, they will get a higher maintenance loan. It also depends on the household income, and there is an extra DSA element for students with disabilities. On the right hand side you can see just some of the estimates for the amount for the maintenance loan. As I say, these do depend on things like living at home, living within London, or studying abroad. So for the repayments for student finance, just for a bit of clarification on this, the student loan is only repayable when the student is earning over £25,000 a year. The student will then, in this situation, pay 9% per year on earnings above £25,000. When the loan repayment period is complete, any outstanding balance is written off. Payments are taken by employers before pay, so you can't get behind on these as they're taken automatically. And if income drops, then the payments will stop. So if you are earning above 25,000 and then this was to drop, you wouldn't then be made to continue paying this. Currently the interest on this as well is 7.9%. And then on the bottom right here again, you can see how much the monthly repayments are dependent on the income each year before tax. So for student finance, these applications are done separately to UCAS. We do look at these within progress lessons as well and can support students with these, but a lot of these will require a lot of upload of personal information that only the students will have. The applications open around the end of February 2025. And the process for these is basically they will check the eligibility of it. You then need to make an account. So once they've made an account, they will then send off the application, update any details. This will get sent back from Student Finance if there's anything, any issues or any more information they need. And then there are specific dates when the students will get paid throughout their time on their course.
So there's a lot of information there about the Student Finance. You don't need to know all of that right at this point, but what we've found in the past is that it's helpful to have a bit of an insight into how you're going to finance that study, and perhaps a little bit reassuring to hear that it's not paid back under a certain income, and that it's not quite like another debt that you might find yourself in. It's not like a mortgage where, you know, you're sort of obliged to pay it whether you're earning or not. We're in a particular type of situation with the Student Finance, so hopefully that's reassuring, but do contact us if you've got questions. So thinking then about students who maybe aren't planning to go to university, an alternative option would be to look at higher and degree apprenticeships, and these are going to be work-based training where they still do gain a higher level qualification. So higher level degrees are at a level 4, and then degree qualifications go up to a level 6 or 7. And what the difficulty with these, for us to talk you through them, is that they vary from one employer to another. How they recruit for them, what mode of training they want to put in is all dependent on the employer. And so we try to take quite a bespoke approach with students who want to apply for degree level apprenticeships. Some things to think about. This is going to be a full-time job with a commitment to also undertake the qualification. You won't get any school holidays anymore, so you need to think about that student lifestyle thing. If all your friends are going to go off to university and be having long holidays and partying on a weeknight, that if you've taken this on, you're probably going to need to be in work again the following morning. And so it's a particular decision for the student to think about lifestyle that they want to have. But obviously, there are lots of benefits to that as well, around being paid, gaining experience. They are very, very competitive. There's lots and lots of people who would love to get their degree whilst earning and growing their experience and not getting into any debt. So we do need to be really proactive, looking out for the opportunities, making really strong applications, being realistic, and probably having a backup plan. So we often talk to students about applying for those apprenticeships, but also knowing that you're going to either need to get a job if one doesn't come through, or potentially having a backup of a UCAS application in place as well. But yeah, loads of benefits to following that route of study, and definitely something we'll also explore with the students. We try to make sure that there's lots of information available to them about the opportunities, and a lot of that, when we get sent through an opportunity that's advertising at that time, we'll put that on Teams, and we have a special channel in Teams for apprenticeships. So if that is a route that they're interested in, they need to make sure that they're engaging with their teams through college really regularly to see when things are coming out, and then coming and asking for support if they're making an application. So this next few weeks and months then, what's the next thing to be doing? Well, research is the main thing to be doing over the summer. They need to be thinking about what universities they might want to go to, looking up when the open days are happening and trying to get along to see those places, particularly if you're thinking of going far away. It's really tempting to think, oh, well, it's too far to go and have a look around. But if you're going to end up living that far away, you need to be realistic about the travel time. You need to know the kind of place that you're looking at going to, and get that information. Those universities are also less likely to come in to us at college, so making sure that you get along to some open days, and using all those online resources, the UCAS website. There's lots and lots of things out there to help them research degrees and to start thinking about personal statements. Maybe looking at getting some work experience over the summer holidays, or doing some wider reading to support that application. Same with volunteering opportunities, and then doing some research into those apprenticeship opportunities as well, if that's something that they're going to be interested in. But starting to have an idea so that when they come back in September and we're talking about making applications, writing personal statements, thinking about applying for things, that they've got a good idea of what they want to be applying for, so that we can get up and running quickly when we start back at college.
So for the students looking for support on what to do after college, there's a lot of things that we do have in place. So in our progress sessions, at the end of their first year at college, a lot of students will have been supported with the planning for their own progression after college. They will get support in completing their UCAS applications, and we as progress tutors will also have access to their application to see where they're up to with these. We can help them prepare for applications for higher apprenticeships and employment. We also have career and enrichment related activities advertised on Teams. As Beck said before, it's really important that the students are engaging with this, as there's a lot of information on there. We also have Beck, who is our dedicated careers coordinator, offering careers information, advice and guidance, and a wealth of resources including our guide to university, guide to employability, as well as Unifrog, as Beck mentioned before. This has a lot of information in regard to different courses that they can do, as well as post-18 options that they have got after college. It is really a really useful resource for students to be looking into and using for research.
So as they come into their second year, it is really important that they stay on track, and that's the main thing really, is to not lose motivation at this point. And it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of choices, lots of things to be thinking about, but maintaining good attendance, engaging well with sessions, knowing what's going on, being at their progress sessions is really, really important at this stage, because that's where a lot of this process takes place. Keeping on top of their work, and then, as we've said, we can't say it enough, can we, just being on Teams, having Teams on their phone, so that when that information's coming out, when there are reminders, when we're talking about apprenticeships, they've got that information to hand.
So as we said before, during the summer holidays there are a lot of open days at most universities. If you are looking for any particular universities, these will be found on the UCAS website or the own university's website themselves. So here in Southport College we have our Edge Hill HE Fair, which is on the 25th of September, which all the students will be invited along to. And then we also have our Anfield Unisearch Fair, which is on the 15th of October. So our main scheme applicants will have various personal statement workshops and drop-ins from September to Christmas. So these will mostly be to support with personal statements, but this will also give a lot of the students an opportunity to get these checked by a variety of different people from different universities as well. It'll also give them a chance to speak to people from a particular university, and if they have any questions about that, they can come and ask a member of staff.
So if you do have any questions at all, we've got a slide here with all of our contact details for all of the progress tutors and for both of us. We're really happy to support you over this process. We are both in over the summer holidays, various points, so if you do need to contact somebody over the holidays, you can do that by getting in touch with one of us, and then beyond that, when we come back in term, speaking with progress tutors, keeping in touch with us and helping us to help you guide through this process. We know it's really daunting for students. We know there's a lot to think about. Hopefully this information being available to you as parents, as well as having been given to the students, will mean that you're able to make a really good start and come back in September ready with lots of information to work from.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching, and as Beck said, if you have any questions or would like to get in touch, myself and Beck are both in over summer, and then if you would like to contact any of the progress tutors directly, then please do.